to the Scratticus Academy. We are back with some more werewolfy goodness. So before I hand over to our wonderful Alpha, please check out all the links coming up in chat now. That includes the Discord. There is a channel purely for this game where we would love to hear what you think. If you've missed out on anything, you can head over to YouTube and catch up over there on this show and all of our other shows as well. Scrat, you are not subtle in any way. Also, if you would like to get in a game like this one, you can head over to Twitter and drop Scrat a DM as well. As Scrat hurriedly runs away, let me talk to you about our wonderful, wonderful sponsors who we could not do this without. I will start with Hero Forge. Hero Forge is awesome. They absolutely just blew their Kickstarter out of the water, and you can get these 3D printed minis in color, straight up print. This isn't painted, these are completely printed straight off the bat. We'll be doing some more stuff with them very, very soon, which I'm super excited about. Also, the Deck of Many with the Deck of Many Things and the Moving Magic spell cards, which you can donate during our games to affect the game as a whole. And they also created Humblewood. And this is another one of our viewer games, so if you would like to try this out on a Thursday, head over to Scrat's DMs and drop him a message. Last but certainly not least, also Mageham Press, who have run the Fae Folio, which you see on the Academy, and also one of my absolute favorites, Dark Matter. If you love space and you love D&D, you smush it together and this is what you get, and it's a very beautiful thing. So please go and check that out as well. Otherwise, let's hop round and say hello to everyone. First of all, Just a Little Nerd or Just Little Sparks is not here today. I believe they may be on a plane somewhere and getting traveling safe to get back places. But please send them some love. Go check them out. They do some really, really awesome things. Otherwise, let's hop down and say hello to Amber. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I am Amber. Amber Egwene in chat, which is where you'll most likely encounter me. There at the Discord. That's all I do.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we're going to hop across and say hi to Jay. Oh, hi.
Hi, I'm Jay. Could find me on Twitter. I post art and things about projects that I'm working on slowly. Yeah.
Such a feel. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I'm Alice or White Rabbit Pick. All my links come up in chat. Yeah, check out my stuff. Otherwise, I will hand over to our very lovely Alpha straight away. Oh, hi.
Well, welcome everybody to this week's episode of In the Light of the Moon. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you all are having a safe one and a fun one and probably a quiet one, self-distancing indoors. I am Kaya Gasson. I am your Alpha, also known as the Anxiety Wolf. I will be your keeper for this Monster of the Week, tweaked, powered by the Apocalypse game that I've called In the Light of the Moon. In the Light of the Moon takes place in the small town of Silver Hollow, out in what would probably be considered Midwest America, surrounded by mountains, lovely scenery. It's built on a paranormal hotspot where beings and entities, both good and bad or neutral, slip through the veil, and our pack of werewolves chosen by the deity Lycan are its first and last defense before leaking into the world at large. Last week, we were joined by our two wonderful guests. We had Agent Emerald and we had Trevor Skiptown. They were our two helpers in our mystery last week of the Crocata. I wanted to say Cryptotoa. I don't know why, but sure. Our Crocata, noticing a string of disappearance. Our Agent Emerald strolled into town talking with our Alpha about the investigation that they had been conducting and finding out that disappearance has also spread to Silver Hollow. As Joanne, our Dr. Pan Edwards co-worker, was not currently at work that day, and our Alpha J also did not have one of her cooks show up. After some deep investigation, going to our cook Martin's house, we discovered that Martin had followed some form of sound into the woods, knowing that a crocata could only mimic the voices of people and not be able to take a shape. They came to the conclusion that he was following perhaps a lost love. Trevor, using his veil sensitive feat, was able to tune into the monster. On a successful roll, they were able to discern where the monster was residing in the woods. And a little bit more information. They were able to go fight the entity. Agent Emerald was able to capture it for the menagerie to be studied for future. But unfortunately, the bodies of Joanne and Martin were found as the victims of this entity that would have been on a slaying green. Agent Emerald went on his way. Trevor started to build his life in the city of Silver Hollow, and that's where we left off. Today, we tune into Dr. Pan Edwards. Pan, what are you up to today?
Pan is probably on the way to one of her meetings, her therapist's office, if anything, something that she does once a week. But well, she used to do it once a week. Now it's gone down to once every 2-3 weeks sort of scheduling, and she feels pretty anxious about it. She's normally very confident in every single thing that she does. When she knows she's right, and normally if she knows she doesn't know something, she's very much, I don't know anything about it. But she's probably hovering around the door, but does knock on the door after fidgeting there probably for about 5 minutes.
All right. And what is your doctor's name?
Doctor's name is Rebecca. Pan has definitely forgotten her last name because the therapist always tells her, just call me Rebecca.
All right. Rebecca, seeing you for the past few years, knows the little tradition that you kind of do with the waiting by the door, understanding that sometimes going in could be a tough day, could be a not tough day. And though she knows you're there, she waits for you to be ready and to knock on the door. And she opens it up. Pan, it's good to see you.
Good morning, Rebecca. And it's this sort of very different sort of voice on Pan. And she doesn't wait to be asked in. She half just not pushes past, but walks in, sits down in her chair, looks forward and just waits. She goes very rigid, like she sits very upright. She doesn't have any slouch, doesn't relax, not how she's normally like around Reese, where she's quite bubbly and sort of soft sitting. Here she's sat upright, very good posture, hands in lap, feet together.
Would you like some tea to help you relax today?
No, I've had tea, thank you. I've had my tea.
I figured you had, but just in case I had some caffeine-free ones on hand, just in case you wanted a little comfort.
No, as always, I have my tea before I arrive.
Is there anything in particular you wanted to talk about today?
She pauses for a moment. I'm not sleeping again. As you've probably heard in town, we've been sorting out some things, and it's just, it's bringing some things back. It's making it uncomfortable.
Well, that's absolutely valid. There seems to have been a little bit of an uptick, and I know that can be very difficult for you, especially since I know you want to be able to be there and help, which unfortunately can put a little bit of a stressor on you. Well, talk to me. What are you dreaming about?
And she sort of clings to the dog tags that are beneath her jumper. She doesn't pull them out. She does cling to them beneath the jumper. Nothing, just, memories mixing with present situations. Reese is very young, and therefore my responsibility, in some ways, not quite my ways, but I probably should. I haven't had someone under my guard, as it were, for a long time.
And it could be a good thing, and it could be definitely a stressor to have that on you.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I like Reese.
I've seen Reese around. They are definitely an interesting person. They bring a certain type of light and air into the town for sure.
And she sort of like lights up. She's such a happy individual, which is probably what no one sees, but Pan does to an extent. They're just, just keep an eye on them. Everything's different now.
Well, is there anything that you would like me to walk you through today, or something that you would just like me to sit and listen to? I don't feel as though I've listened to it all before. I'm here to make sure that you feel safe and that you feel that you can talk about things.
It's been a long time since it happened, since everything happened, and I just want to sleep. I just want to get a night's rest without any extra things interrupting it, and I don't know why I can't.
Is there something specific that is pulling you into that?
She sort of pauses for a little bit of a moment. I suppose I'm doing more now, especially lately. It's not just the regular patients at the office now, it's the other things that seem to be trying to cause problems in the village, the town, and it's very much and she sort of smiles at, it's a real adrenaline rush, and I'm a little concerned. I came here because of certain reasons, and the quiet life, it's a nice town, it's got nice people in it. There's a nice little surgery with like normal people that come in and out, but it sounds awful, but the adrenaline I used to get back during the war, I miss it.
That's not awful. Some people tend to look at that adrenaline as an addiction, or as a detriment to one's character, thinking that they long or crave war. But you can't deny the fact that even more now, you might be more equipped for these situations more than anybody else, and that adrenaline, your body handles it better than a lot of other people. There's nothing wrong with missing it. It doesn't mean that you don't regret a lot of things that happened, or feel I wouldn't say remorse as if you've done something wrong, but to feel the pain of what people had gone through, what you have gone through. But
it doesn't hurt anymore. And she sort of gestures to the scar that sort of seems, you can only see just above, around the back of her neck, that seems to go down onto her shoulder. It doesn't hurt, but sometimes it feels like it does, like it feels hot. And she doesn't look upset, she's very matter of fact. I don't feel anything until after the adrenaline's gone. when the moment's over, I'm in it. And then when it stops, that's when I actually think about it.
Does that worry you?
Yes.
How so?
Well, in the moment, instincts kick in. And I'm not just human anymore. There's the other side. And I don't know fully what that side's instincts can lead to.
But that side is also you.
I mean, I'm not very strong. I can't do a lot, but I mean, she sort of just starts fiddling with her hands a little bit. I'm sure it'll be fine.
No, you don't need to do that.
But it will be fine. It's been... She's like, look, I've lived a long time. And... I guess I'll figure it out.
Well, we'll figure it out. And you know I'm always here for you. And you know Jay is always here for you. I'm very excited to see the relationship growing between you and Reese. I see the positivity that they're breeding in you.
She likes pancakes.
I mean, who doesn't love pancakes, though?
No, but Reese really likes pancakes.
That's fair. We all have our comforts. I know that you really like your jams.
I do. And it's almost like her mind goes off somewhere else, that she's thinking, she's going through the process of how she makes the jams, and it's almost like she pictures them in the cupboard, all these different jams where she's made labels for them, and they have to be in the right order. They have to be where she left them.
Would this be pan? Would this be pan disassociating?
Maybe, I'm not too sure. Maybe a little bit. It's like, it sounds really stupid, like happy place.
Right.
It's jam to pan because it's routine. It's, she makes the jam, she puts it on her bread, she has to put it with her cup of tea in the morning. It's the routine, it's how things go. If anything interrupts the routine, that's when she isn't happy.
Would you and Rebecca have worked out something to pull you from that, or is it something where she lets you?
I think she lets her drift there for a moment, but if it's too long, we'll just make a sound, like maybe tap the desk or move something so that it sort of breaks the concentration without fully bringing her out.
Okay. Well, she'll let you hold that space for as long as you need, whatever makes you most comfortable. And maybe when she starts to see you go a little bit, she might either rub like a textured part of the couch, just a very gentle sound to try and see if she can lure you back.
I think she does very quickly as Pan snaps up, smile on her face, as stands. Well, I have a surgery to get to.
All right. Well, you know where to find me. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And if your sleeping does not improve, please talk to me.
I know. Yeah. And she sort of heads towards the door, opens it, looks back, and is like, thank you. But doesn't wait and just goes and closes the door.
All right. Well, we'll close on that scene and we'll go over to Hendiriel?
Imperial.
Hendiriel. Okay. Hendiriel, where are you right now? Are you on your farm? We'll say wherever you're most comfortable.
I think I was on my farm yesterday.
Okay.
But I've since an incident.
Gotcha. And let's see. before we get to the incidents, at the beginning of every game or every mystery, your character has an ability that they can choose whether to use or not. Would you like to roll to see if you have a premonition for this mystery?
I would love to roll.
Okay. So why don't you roll me 2d6 and add your, I believe it's your weird modifier,
I believe so.
and let me know what the total number is.
9.
9. Perfect. So on a 7 to 9, you get clouded images of something bad that is yet to happen. And if we are able to stop this bad thing from happening, you will be able to mark experience. So we'll say that you were on your farm and you were going through your daily tasks. And sometimes these tasks can tend to kind of really center your body and your mind. They're monotonous, but in a comforting way. And it kind of clears your mind. And it happens during a lot of these times that the premonitions tend to happen, either in the early mornings or during these very calming tasks for you. As you're out repairing a piece of machinery for the day's work, your vision goes cloudy for a moment before you're thrust through the woods on the outskirts of Silver Hollow. And you look around, and the trees are kind of fading in and out as your body and your vision is shifted forward ever so slightly. And you're in a clearing, one that you don't recognize, but feels familiar. And you watch as the earth around this clearing crumbles and breaks as one humanoid arm stretches out of it and grasps the earth, and another reaches out and grasps the earth. And you think that you're about to see the head when two more arms emerge, feeling as if they're from the same body. And the vision goes disjointed, and suddenly it feels as if you're no longer there anymore, and you're in a boiler room? I don't really know what boiler room it is. As you look in the corner and you see this entity a little clearer, but still disjointed in its movements. But where you thought you saw one, now is 2 and 3, as they're swarming around this warm portion of the boiler room. And your vision snaps closed. And you find that during this vision, your hand slid into the machine that you had. Or what incident do you believe would happen if you were having this during a waking moment?
I was probably messing with barbed wire at the time. So
Okay.
Massive gash on the arm from barbed wire.
All right. So now you are bleeding from the arm as the barbed wire cut like a good gash in there. Thankfully, avoiding anything super gnarly. But you get the sense that you probably, unfortunately, might need to get some stitches, as the usual super glue or bandage won't really work in this situation.
Free up my tetanus shot.
Get your tetanus shot. All right, and we'll hold on that. Frankie, what are you up to today?
Probably not a whole lot. Imagine probably at home alone, reading through some really old books that related to the abilities he has. Just trying to keep that fresh in his mind while he's away from where he normally stays.
Awesome. Frankie, it's still relatively early in the morning. I would say it's about 9 or 10. Just chilling in your home, reading your books. when you get a text from your mom saying, "Hey, I left my lunch on the counter. Would you be able to bring it into work for me today?"
Yeah, he'll respond with like, "Yeah, on my way," and gather his things before leaving.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Don't worry about me, guys. We're fine. All right. So, Pan, you've left your appointment for the day, and you're heading to you're heading back towards urgent care. Where is your doctor's office located? Would it be one that is located in like a private office in the center of town? Or do you visualize it?
It's in urgent care, but it's an office off of there. It's sort of her own room, and she doesn't like when people touch her stuff. But it's very much like so like when people that come in to do the cleaning of the whole urgent care area, she's probably seen something that has moved slightly, and it's just that frustration. But her office is a private office, but patients come in and out all the time. So.
Got it. So you're heading back to your office. When you went to get back to your office, there's like a little like words aren't a thing today. Bin? I don't know. Like what's those things that you can like put like folders and stuff in? Like a bin.
Oh, like a oh
like
my goodness! No,
like an envelope thing. You know,
Yeah.
like a mailbox, but not a mailbox. I'm gonna have to have my husband make me more coffee.
It's almost like confused me now that you
Like an
don't know.
organizer, like a file thing.
Filing cabinet. There we go. Filing cabinet.
No, not
yeah.
quite. Like it's on the outside, whatever. It's on the outside of your door, and you know that a lot of the receptionists or the front desk workers, if there's any charts for the day that you need to review or sign, if there's any phone messages for you, everything would be left in that little wall pocket.
She does that
Inbox.
sort of awkward
Inbox.
thing of just like scooping it all out and piling it into her arms, that awkward sort of thing. Starts to read the first one as she goes in and opens her own door.
Perfect. Thank you, chat. Sure, inbox. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Inbox. And you're scrolling through it, and on it you see a message from the main hospital saying that one of their ER docs had called in sick and was wondering if you could fill in for them.
And she's like, okay, I'll write that down. And she sort of starts writing it on her hand rather than anything else. She does have a notebook, but she's currently writing it on her hand.
But we don't want to mess with the Reese deciphering texts notebook.
That's a whole separate thing. That is a notebook purely. That's a little codex. That's not an actual notebook.
You're carrying around a Rolodex.
She writes it on a hand, like, okay, must remember that. And then she looks at it, pulls up her sleeve and writes it again further up because she remembers she's a doctor. She's washing her hands a lot. They're going to disappear in no time. But yeah, she sits down at her office, sort of takes a deep breath, checks her hand again in case there was any other notes, and there aren't. But she starts to file things until first patient's either in or something like that.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so they'll say that your shift probably starts around 11. You've got a couple of hours to decompress and get your mind ready for the day before you have to head on over. Hendiriel, what would your response be to the premonition that you had? Outside of the fact that you do have a gash, what would be the first thing you would want to do? I feel like I'm playing juggling a little bit.
I would probably assume that they were in the boiler room for heat.
Okay.
And be planning on doing research about what I could do to stop these unnatural creatures, or
Okay.
these horrific creatures.
They are horrific. would you go and get your arm settled first, or would you want to do research?
This has happened to me often enough that I think I would know that if I didn't get my arm settled first, the doctors would be really upset, and the librarians would be really upset.
Fair.
So,
Fair. Okay, so you head off towards the ER at the hospital. I have a map. Don't worry. Okay, this is my makeshift map, everybody. Isn't it pretty? It's so great. So I would assume that you would probably live on the outskirts. So I would say you probably live over here somewhere, away from the town. So you're probably a good 15-20 minute drive into what is called the city center. In the city center, you know that's where the post office, the main library, the high school and elementary school. You've got the hospital down here. Urgent care is pretty close there. I don't know where things are. I drew this map. It's fine. And you take off towards the hospital. What are you driving? You want to describe your vehicle? Just for poops and ha-has.
probably not quite a carriage, but as close as I can get to a carriage.
Okay.
The oldest car that will still run, basically, in the county.
Would it be a type of truck, or would it be like an old vintage car?
It would be a truck.
Truck. So maybe you're thinking like an old Ford, like the big old wheel covers, rusted halfway through.
Yep.
I love it. What color?
Rust.
All right.
I just gave up on it not looking rusty and just painted it rusty.
Perfect. When in doubt, just paint it more maroon. So you drive your rusted Ford pickup, and it's just called a Ford pickup. They didn't have numbers and letters and stuff at that time. Down to the hospital. Frankie, when do you think you are going to drop off lunch for your mother?
I think it would actually just be like, I'm just gonna go take it down right now. Like would just like grab a bag of just stuff normally carry around, like a backpack or something. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Just head out like immediately.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so Hendario, you arrive close to 11, a little after 11, and Pan, you would have been at the hospital. You see what I'm doing here, y'all? I'm really good at this. Make sure everybody's in the same location. Hey, call that. Everybody's stitching it together. And you check in with the front desk for your laceration. They won't make you wait too long. It's a quiet day. Especially here in the town of Silver Hollow. Not too many emergencies roll through here. Most of the stuff can be taken care of over at the urgent care, but your gash definitely will be taken care of here. And by strange random happenstance, Dr. Pan Edwards, this is your patient.
Well, she'll probably call them in, and then take ages to look up. And when they do look up, what did you do to your arm?
Barbed wire.
Why?
I wasn't paying attention to that.
Well, you should probably pay attention. She does that awkward thing, when people shuffle on a moving chair and make a load of noise. Sort of crashes into her bin over by the side. Sort of takes your arm and immediately starts cleaning it. This does hurt, but she forgets to tell you until after she's touched it. She's just like, oh, this will sting.
Thanks.
A lot.
Thanks.
And she just keeps going. She cleans it, and then she puts like the bandage on it. She's pulling it tight to keep it all secure, sort of folding and tying the bit up at the top. And she's like, maybe pay attention a bit more than last time.
And I will say that, Hendira, you've lived in this town for a very long time, and all the town members here know, especially the ones who become members, do know of the pact and the significance of the location Silver Hollow sits on. This is probably not the first time y'all have met each other. You've either heard each other in passing. You do know that Pan is one of the pact members and is one of the older members of the pack. Frankie, you would also know this, especially with your growing knowledge into the this paranormal. I almost said paranatural because I was going to say supernatural and paranormal. Your growing understanding of the paranormal with each passing day. With that information in mind, continue.
And I think
it's hard to pay attention when you're seeing horrific monstrosities.
Are you talking about your arm or me?
Oh.
No. Something in the barbed wire. No,
Right.
not in the barbed wire.
As she
But something I
pauses,
saw when I was with the barbed wire.
and I think she might seem a little bit tetchier today, but this is as tetchy as she gets. She doesn't get but she looks at you and says, "What did you see in the barbed wire?"
Odd creature with 4 humanoid arms,
Yes.
and well, they were swarming around the boiler room.
Have you had a fever at any point, or how are you feeling other than the
This,
arms?
I believe, was before the barbed wire, so it couldn't have been tetanus. I think. Am I right about that?
We'll say yes for now. It makes it easier. Otherwise, have you eaten any off food? Have you felt any fever? Have you been sleeping properly? Anything to that effect?
No, I actually haven't eaten today.
Well, that's not a good thing. And she opens her drawer, and she doesn't have much, but she has a small jar of boiled sweets that are colourful. She's like, have one of those at least. Also, sit and chew or suck the sweet. Don't move around with it. Awful choking hazard.
They'll take it and follow instructions.
And when you say that you saw these things in a boiler room, what your boiler room or particular?
I don't know
boiler?
what boiler room it was. Just a boiler room.
Right. And she sort of looks at her and makes a note on her hand, and closes her palm again. So, does this happen often?
The barbed wire or the seeing things?
The heebie-jeebie seeing thing.
Oh, probably about once a week.
And you haven't thought to discuss this before now?
I was under the impression you cared for the bodies.
And your brain is part of your body. She pauses and looks at him very intently, and there's that flash of almost like yellow across her eyes. And she probably twitches her nose a little bit as she sniffs. But it's not because she's got a cold or anything, it's like she's sensing what's in the room. She pauses and looks at you again. Maybe lay off the barbed wire for a little bit.
But I have to keep my neighbors out.
Are they a problem? Are they coming in that often? Can you ask them not to? Can you build a fence instead?
That's what I was doing.
Not a barbed wire fence. I'm sure a very smart wooden fence will do the job just as nicely.
Their cows won't respect a wooden fence.
So it's not your neighbors coming in, it's the cows.
Yes.
I still suggest a fence.
That's what I was building.
A barbed wire fence, possibly of wood or rock. And she smiles, like looking like more relaxed now. She knows your neighbors aren't trying to invade you, but rather their cows. And she's, are they doing anything about it? Not the cows, the neighbors.
Well, I don't really know if they care.
That their cows are coming, then keep the cows. See what happens.
That wouldn't go well with my vegetables.
Well, do you have a space where your vegetables are not?
I mean, my house, but that doesn't really seem
There
like a
you
good
go.
place for cows.
Well, you won't know until you try.
Oh, I could take them to the butcher.
Maybe not that. Might really upset the neighbors if you do that.
I build them a fence.
I tell you what, build a fence, not of barbed wire, of something else, or hire someone else to do it. It would save Vin. She looks at his arm. Damages.
Perhaps.
And she says her eyes sort of wander around the room. And she sits awkwardly in the chair, which normally you will know if you've been in here before. It's like, okay, I'm done. It's the, I'm done now.
I'm probably in here about like every month at the least, so.
She stares intently. Sort of takes one of the sweets out of the jar herself and eats it.
All right.
It's that awkward. I'm English, okay? I love an awkward silence. I will stay here all day.
I am anxious. It's so awkward silences are really tough on me, but for comedic value, they're fantastic. That interaction was gold star. That was a lot of fun. So, Hendario, you get your slash from your barbed wire. Maybe not gently, but precisely stitched up. Given, of course, your antibiotics to stave off any type of sepsis or infection, because I know medical things, and the, you know, you check out, and the day is yours to do with as you will. Frankie, you arrive to drop off your mom's lunch, and she is very thankful, and just it's like, you know, trying to do small talk with you. Well, how are you doing? Did you sleep well? How's it been being back?
It's pretty good. Slept well. Haven't really done much.
Oh, well, that's fine. You've been doing just enough at college. We're just so happy to have you back.
Yeah.
And it's great. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Zoom is really weird.
That's it.
Okay. About that time, she hears like a call come in, and she goes, I'm so sorry, and she goes down to check on another patient, leaving you there kind of in the reception area of the ER of the hospital where she works. And somebody walks by, and as somebody walks by, they kind of like waft the air behind them. So sometimes it's like where you can smell their perfume or their cologne, or they're pulling a smell from another room as if they're dragging the air across them, and they pull, as they walk past you, you get the pungent smell of earth. And it kind of takes you back a little bit where you don't understand, where you're in some place that's obviously heavily sanitized and has a very thick chemical smell, where suddenly you have this wet earth smell coming to your nose as the person leaves, and you kind of look down and you see kind of on the ground some muddy tracks.
Gonna try to see if you can look at the person that's been doing that the smell and the tracks.
The person themselves wasn't the one that was leaving the tracks. The reason you kind of picked up that smell is because the person walked by an area and kind of carried the smell with them. As you turn to view the person walking away, they're just another one of the charge nurses in scrubs. Looks clean, but the tracks remain.
Where do the tracks go towards?
So you would be on the first floor in kind of like the reception area of the hospital, and you are closer to like kind of the check-in. So you see where there'd be an emergency exit, like to the right and out, and you see them coming in through that emergency exit.
All right. Kind of curious about what this is. I'm gonna hang around there for a few minutes just to see if whoever made him come back.
Okay. So you wait around for a few minutes, waiting to see if whatever possibly laid these tracks circles back around again. Maybe it was just a person with some really muddy boots that just didn't wipe their feet before they came in. And you don't see anybody pass by. But you start to kind of hear skittering. You listen, you're trying to figure out where it's going, and it doesn't sound like rat skittering, where it's like small little just little claws just kind of going across. It's like somebody shuffling very quickly. You've maybe like a toddler trying to shuffle across the board as across the floor as they're learning to walk or trying to get more stable. And you hear it kind of within the walls and the ceiling above you. Very subtle though. And it's at this moment when the lights in the whole building just shut down. And you hear kind of this as the emergency lights come on. And you can hear the doors on the hospital for safety measures click locked. And Handiriel, you're still in the building checking out before lockdown happens, as is Dr. Dawson. What do you do?
Okay. I don't know exactly what other questions I can ask, but we tried to investigate.
Okay. So essentially you would like to try to roll to investigate a mystery?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know if I specify, but...
Using your forensic...
Yeah.
Forensic divination.
Yes.
So essentially what you do is you roll for a standard investigate a mystery, which means you would roll your 2d6 and you would add your sharp.
Okay.
And based off that number, I'll let you know how many questions you can ask me, and I'll list the questions that I have. But the cool thing about forensic divination is that as a free question, no matter what, as long as you succeed, you can ask what magic was done here.
All right.
Let me roll.
6 total.
Okay. So a 6 is a failure. So go ahead and mark experience. we'll say narratively, you were kind of moving closer towards these prints and trying to move closer towards the sound of the skittering and the smell of the earth when the power went off, and it distracted you a little. It distracted you, pulling you back out of that focus you were trying to pull in with your powers, still being maybe a little bit new and learning with. Dr. Dawson, you are currently locked inside the hospital. The power has gone out and the emergency lights are on. You know, as a safety procedure during these times, a lot of the doors will lock automatically to ensure nobody is trying to rush out of their rooms or anything like that. Everybody remains safe until the problem is handled.
She's awkwardly by the door, just trying to push it open, just with a finger, like just checking that the doors are locked. Pushes it, realize nothing goes anywhere. Takes out Purell that Reese gave her, but rubs it on her hands, puts it in the pocket. Looks around at a lot of the patients. Please remain calm. Everything will return to normal very, very soon. And then there's that awkward smile again.
As you say, the things will return to normal very, very soon. You hear down the hall a loud and piercing scream.
She doesn't move. As I said, there is nothing to be alarmed about, and I will go and check that out just
Perfect.
this moment. And she does that sidle sort of walk away.
Yes. And Frankie and Hendiriel, you also hear this scream. So Pan goes to investigate, and you go quickly. It was coming from the farthest side of the hall, so probably about 50 feet down, one of the farthest rooms. And as you open up, there's just blood everywhere, like as if
her nose twitches again,
mm-hmm.
as if she can find out whether where the blood's coming from, or if it's is this like someone that could have been injured? She's trying to sense, is someone injured and trying to move around somewhere, or is this like so much blood that it's like, oh, there's not going to be a lot left of this human?
Gotcha. There is a copious amount of blood,
Mm-hmm.
But there's no body. And you look around, and through the emergency lights, you can't really tell how much blood. It is a little dark, but your nose is picking up a lot, and it's also picking up the smell of fresh earth.
And I think she very slowly looks around. She's trying to take everything in. Her sort of wolfish eyes flick over maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Does the blood look like it's going somewhere, or is it literally like just...
Well, I think this would be the perfect time for investigate a mystery.
Yes.
Roll me an investigate a mystery. Roll plus your
Okay,
sharp,
that's
which I believe you are
sharp,
very
so-
sharp.
I am actually sharp.
You're so sharp.
So I roll 2d6, don't I? Just to double check.
Correct.
10.
Okay. On a 10. That is a success. On a 10, you hold 2, which essentially means you can ask me 2 questions.
Okay.
The questions could be, what happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? Or what is being concealed here? You may ask me 2 of those questions.
I think she looks around for a moment, and the 2 things she wants to know is 1, where did it go?
Okay.
And 2, what does it do effectively? Like, what is it? Was that one of the questions? I
Yeah,
can't
so
remember.
there
Yeah.
so you say where did it go and what can it do?
Yeah, what can it do? Yeah, sorry.
Perfect. So you look around, and what would be difficult for the average human to be able to see, you're now kind of pulling that wolf forward a little bit as your eyes begin to glow, and that wolf vision takes over, and the wolf senses start to come to the brim, and you look around and you start to see that whoever was in here was just turning over a bed to get it ready for another patient, and you see up in the ceiling, as you're looking down, you're starting to see handprints. Like, just, you're not seeing feet, you're just seeing handprints in the blood, like multiples of them. And you start to see a pattern as they kind of like when you put your hand in paint and you do the first one and it's like really, really pronounced, and the second one's like a little less and a little less and a little less, and you start to see as it's moving away from the epicenter that probably it put its hands in, and it starts to go up the wall. And you notice that one of the ceiling tiles has been shifted ever so slightly, and there's just a faint print on there, and a little smear on the wall as if something was pulled through. What can it do? You get the sense that it is very strong. It can attack silently, and in the corner you start to see like a little bit of what looks like web.
Okay. She's sort of looking around. She sort of does that awkward step in between so she doesn't step on any blood, like she's trying to keep it as minimal as possible. And if there's a mop or something, she goes to get that, and where the panel is, just because she doesn't want to stick her head through first, she's going to slowly, like, you know when a cat lies in wait and swipes, and it's just kind of like there with a broom, and she's just putting it up through the ceiling to see if anything tries to grab hold of it as it comes up. Okay.
You put it through the ceiling, and it gets stuck. Kind of like not like something has grabbed it and taken hold, but like, you know, when you're trying to put like your jeans on, your toe gets stuck in like one of the really designer holes in it, and you're like jiggling with it a little bit. It kind of feels like that, like it's just caught on something, and you move it around and you pull it out, and there's more of that kind of webbing that is coming off of it.
Yeah, if anyone follows her into this room, she's literally now looking at this stick with web on.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Frankie and Hendiriel, what are you both doing upon hearing this scream and seeing one of the wolf pack ever so nonchalantly walking towards this room?
Frankie would have probably taken a second, gone through the bag to like grab little pouches of like things like just in case something happens, and like kind of started to follow. Like would have definitely like taken care to take out like little colored shards of glass, be like, all right, I'm definitely gonna look for magic this time. I got everything ready. And start to like kind of follow, keep it listening for the skittering and stuff again.
Okay. We'll say that as you're walking towards Pan, and you're really trying to keep your ear out for that skittering, you hear it subtly, not as if it's right above you, but like a little, like as if it's crawling over the rooms almost. You hear it just very subtly, and as you're walking this way, it's skittering that way as you're going into the farthest room. And Dariel, what are you doing?
I'll probably follow.
Okay.
Hesitantly. Grumbling the entire time that this is what happens when you trust electricity.
Perfect. Absolutely wonderful. So Pan, you are indeed standing in the middle of this room holding a broom, and you both now walking in see Pan's eyes slightly aglow, and a almost catching in just the air that you push as you come into the room, this kind of webbing as it wafts on this broom.
Just sort of like moving it around a bit to see how firm it is. And would I know Frankie if I know I'm old enough? If Frankie's coming back to the town, would I have known Frankie?
I always assume that, and don't let me speak for y'all if this is not the case, but if you've grown up in the town, especially if everybody in this town who are members and love the town and support the town, know of the pack, you would have at least crossed paths, especially with Frankie's mom being an RN here at the hospital.
Okay.
How well you know each other is up to you.
I feel like maybe I've seen her go for checkups as a kid because I'm over 100 years old. So if anything, yeah. I might have seen her go in and out. Seen him go in and out. And I think he probably knows my face, but doesn't know, maybe not know each other like on a familiar base, but you do see me there with the stick, these things. And I sort of look over. Oh, Frankie, you're back. When did you, I think we have the spider problem.
Yeah. I heard something. I heard the yelling. Something in the ceiling, going
which way? And like
back,
back, like up and that way, or up and that way.
He points back in the direction, like back that way. He's coming.
And she's brandishing this broom like a weapon.
What was that, Henry?
Have you considered getting cats? They're great for spiders.
From this, as he points to like the top of the broom, we're gonna need a big cat. You got a dog.
It might be too late in this case.
You're gonna have to settle for a dog, I'm afraid.
And Hendario, as you enter into this room, you also see the scene that lays before you. In the low light, you do see some of the handprints that fan out as if something is walking on its hands like this, and it calls to you.
Looks like they got bit by the barbed wire worse than I did.
And I think Pan turns to Frankie and is like, "You said this way, right?"
Yeah.
And Pan's gonna start walking and slowly pushing panels up, not to have a look, but to feel if there's a weight.
Okay.
Above it.
I
don't know what that roll is.
I'm not going to make you roll for it. I'm not going to make you roll to push a broom.
I want to roll to poke.
So let's see. So you're in a room at the moment. It's one of the standard hospital rooms. So we'll say it's like, what's the hospital room? What, jail cells are 5x5? So what's bigger than that? 8x8? 10x10?
About 25 by 30, standard for like a going clinic.
Ooh, wow, I was way off. For just like one of the
yeah, because they have to have room for the bed and the cabinet and everything.
Nope, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so 25 by 30. So you start to see the tiles. They're like a good sized tile. They're about 3x3s, and you're just pushing. Nothing. Pushing. Nothing. You do this for a good few minutes, but there's not a weight on them, from what you can tell. There's at least nothing on top of the tiles here.
Looks for a moment. Still brandishing the broom, she's going to push one of the desks towards the open panel and climb up and look in the gap. Again, very much brandishing the stick, but but is looking in.
Okay, and so you're just like standing on a chair. Excellent. I also, because I'm still learning things, every member of the party can do a thing called help out, which led a +1 to any of the other players. So any time thematically you feel that your character would help in this situation, you could say, I would like to help out A or B, and it would let them a +1 to their roll. Currently, I don't think you need to roll Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna have you read a bad situation.
Me?
Yeah,
Okay,
you.
hang on. And that's sharp again, isn't it? Or is it?
Sure is.
Yep. Hang on. 10.
Okay.
That too is a great plus in this.
I'm
Thank
gonna have
God you're not rolling for charm because
I'm
am
gonna-
not charming.
I'm gonna have Scrat come over and take your stinking die away from you.
These are my magic dice.
Okay, on a 10 plus, you get to ask me 3 questions now.
Great. Okay.
Okay, so what's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? What's the best way to protect the victim?
When you say victim, do you also mean like the people around me that we could all be possible victims, or is this
Yeah,
web?
it could. Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be protect the victim, any hidden dangers, and I want to know an exit. I don't care if I can get in, but I want to know an exit.
So you get the sense that probably the best exit for you personally would probably be just because of your dexterity as a wolf and the way that everything is kind of created would be through the roof. It would be like going up levels and then going out the roof and then like taking the fire ladder down would be like the best way out of the building since it's currently on lockdown.
Okay.
You said the best way to protect the victims. In looking up in this area, you see what your broom was getting caught on, and you just see webbing everywhere. And what you start to see a little bit of the blood smear as if something was dragged, and then it stops. And then you see the webbing break open and as it's been exploded from the inside. And now where you saw one kind of like set of like handprints, you now see 2.
Okay.
So you get the best way to protect the victims is to keep them away from these things. And what was the third one?
Any hidden dangers I haven't seen.
Any hidden dangers? The hidden dangers are these beings because they are hidden and they are dangerous.
Dangerous. I thought so. Pan sort of looks down. She climbs off the desk, opens a drawer, takes out a thing of rage because it's not going to do anything, but she feels more comfortable now that she has it.
Sure.
And looks over towards Frankie and Hendro. It's like, so, got a big spider. It looks like actually we have 2 big spiders. As like she looks back up, and under no circumstances should you touch the webbing. And she holds like the end of the webbing.
Right.
In the end.
Can I try the forensic investigation in this room?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Start. Ooh. Better than last time. A little bit. It's sharp, so 7.
Hey, that's a success. Barely,
Yeah.
but we made it. So essentially you get to ask me don't mind me. I have a book and I have bookmarks. So on a 7 and 9 you get to ask me 1 question, but as a part of your ability you get to ask me what kind of magic for free. So we have we had Pan ask what happened here and what can it do. So I will give you what sort of creature is it, what can hurt it, where did it go, what was it going to do, and what is being concealed here as options outside of your what magic.
what sort of creature is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have been diving deep into your books and into your lore. Some of those are have been going kind of down the path of kind of like conjuration or bringing forth entities, fitting the veil even more so that more monsters or such can come through. And in that, and in reading that, you're starting to kind of piece together the many handprints, the webbing, the kind of arachnid-like, and something starts to tickle your mind in that you're like, oh my gosh, this is an arachne. And your kind of face goes like, oh, because arachne are these horrific looking creatures. They're spider-like, but they seem to be made out of humanoid parts. And they tend to spread like wildfire. And they spread by wildfire, like wildfire, through bite. So whoever is bitten then shifts into another one. And then they bite another one and they shift into another one. And so you know what kind of creature it is, and you know that the magic, that this thing didn't just naturally occur here, that it was summoned.
That's not good.
What's not good? Why? Well, it isn't
Well,
good, but you sound more panicked than before.
It's an arachne, so gotta stop spider. They bite each other to bite people, become each other. It was summoned by someone. Don't know who. Don't know where.
Wait, someone summoned this thing?
Yes.
She immediately looks around to see whose office this is.
It's not an office. It's just a
Just a space.
yeah. It's a. Oh my God! What are words? A room, a hospital room, a thing
Like,
in the clinic
then-
where you go and they take your temperature and stuff.
she pauses again for a moment and is like, "You said that if they bite you, you turn into them."
Yes.
She's like, zombie spiders. And she's gonna push herself up into the roof, avoiding the webbing, but she wants to find this thing.
Okay. And Hendario, what are you doing as all of this information starts to float across and things start to come into motion?
Well, I assume this is what I saw.
You, after hearing the description, definitely have a flashback to the disjointed premonition that you had of something being summoned, being pulled out of the earth in a field that you are not familiar with the scenery blurred, and you recall these multi-armed creatures coming out, and you do recall them in some form of dark space huddled around something for warmth, and that there were many of them.
So, I assume this is what I saw in my vision. Therefore, I assume they are clustering in a warm environment such as the boiler room.
Good to know. At least we know where the boiler room is now. And I'm assuming I'd know where the boiler room is.
Sure. I'm just trying to think, because I was like, probably boiler room wouldn't be used as much, but yeah, sure. Yeah, you know where the boiler room is. You've been here long enough and gone through the updates done to the renovations done to the hospital. There we go. We're doing great,
Okay,
kids.
if I've been here for a long time, I'm assuming I would have.
Yeah, you've watched it go from a tent to a building, so you would know where the boiler room is.
And I think first of all, realizing as soon as she hears Tendril say boiler room, lowers herself back down. Is the panel still there, or is the panel that was there gone?
It's there. I assume that you had kind of like moved it aside.
Yeah,
So when you saw
gonna-
it, it was kind of like poorly put back in, so it's just slightly,
Yeah, she definitely puts it back, goes down to the desk she's standing on, pulls out a thing and writes, "Do not enter big bitey spiders inside," and then just sticks it to the top.
Okay.
And she's gonna gaffer tape that hole like with the big sellotape and go, "Okay, to the boiler room," and she goes to leave the boiler room.
Before we go to the boiler room, what's the standard fire evacuation plan for this place?
Are you asking me or are you asking Pan?
I'm asking Pan.
Okay.
You hit the fire alarm, everyone goes to the communal areas where you can see to your left, right, and forward down the corridor where you can see the signs with the big red circle, and then you will be escorted out in a formally orderly fashion.
If the whole hospital wasn't in lockdown.
So
I will break a door if it means getting out.
What happens when the hospital is in lockdown and there's a fire?
I break the door.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
I can unlock all the things. I'm assuming again there's going to be something that overwrites the shutdown or to get the power back up. Is that more what it is? Because that'd be down in a boiler room as well, wouldn't it? Like a fuse box.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Yeah, that sounds like something that would be really cool to have. An override switch in the boiler room. That would be perfect placement.
Go down there.
we'll go with that. And so is your plan to try and get some of the people out?
I think she's going to go and open some of the doors, but she wants to monitor who's going out.
Okay.
I feel like I'd notice a big spidery thing, but if this is like the thing, then I don't know.
Got it. Okay. We will say that you start to round up as many of the patients you can. Some of them are bedridden, and try to come up with a plan to.
I'm wheeling them. Like,
yeah,
I'm telling the nurses to like get them out.
To break the door for the lockdown and get them out. And that is where we're going to go on break.
Awesome.
So I think, as Alice says every week, we're going to go on a little break for 5 minutes. Go and kiss your pets and hug your friends, right?
Stretch, drink,
stretch, have some water, and we will be back to continue this horrific trek through a lockdown hospital, which is terrifying to me, but it might be cool to you guys.
See you in a minute.
Oh, woo. Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a pleasant 6 minutes. We left off with our crew trying to figure out a way to break the lockdown to let the patients and the workers out safely without possibly letting something else terrible out into the world. So let's see how we go. Tell me, gang, who's doing what in this situation to try and get these people out or to safety?
I think like Pan is trying to organize people. She's spoken to some nurses, some doctors about a situation is that we need to get people out. If anyone is showing the signs of these things, do not let them out, sort of thing. Like check everything basically.
Okay, Frankie, what are you doing?
As people are kind of like leaving areas, I wanted to one of my it's combat magic, but one of my things I can do is make a wall, so once people are out of the hallway and out of like a certain hallway and it's empty, I want to like put a wall up so like that kind of narrows down where they can come out of the down the hallway at people.
Okay. And Hendriel, what would you like to do in this situation?
I'd like to start preparing to cast some spells.
Okay. And what spells would you like to prepare to cast?
I would like to prepare to cast Jinx on the next time, or on whatever this monster is, if I ever see it.
Okay.
So I'd be getting my spell components out and all that stuff. Whatever
Okay.
those end up looking like.
You got it. Let's see. I would even say that if you wanted to, just because why not? Since you're not seeing any of these entities, but you want to cast Jinx, I will allow you to either gather some of the blood or some of the webbing to see if you can use a token to Jinx one or two creatures, depending on your roll.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
That's
So
blood, preferably.
okay, so Hendariel will start gathering up some of the blood, especially after Pan had told them that it seemed that they had shifted at some point. Pan, you are working to get people out, so you're going to try and break open the lockdown door.
Yeah, she's kicking the door open. Try not to break it as in like take everything out, because if she wants to keep something in, but she's trying to break the door.
Okay, just for poops and ha-has.
The one thing she's not good at.
Hang on. I want you to roll tough.
Okay, hang on. 4. I'd like to just throw myself at the door, please.
Perfect. Mark experience. And let's see. Frankie, you took what spells? You took wall,
missile, and I have the earth effect.
Earth effect. Okay.
It's adds forceful restraining to a base.
Okay. Did you want to perhaps try to missile this door?
You can see Pan just throwing herself at it,
Yep.
and she's not very big either. So.
Yeah. I'd maybe wait for her to move just in case.
Okay.
Move a little bit out of the way, but then I can use missile.
Okay. Are you comfortable casting this in front of people, or are you going to try and start a distraction first to draw attention away from you doing this? You don't feel pulled towards one or the other. I just wanted to give you the option just in case.
I think he would just kind of like he would do it in front of people, but like try to not make a big deal out of it so no one else makes a big deal out of it.
Okay. Then why don't you go ahead and roll let's see.
Mine is
So yeah, so you roll plus weird to kick some ass as opposed to your tough. So roll for weird.
Okay. That's a 9.
Perfect. Okay, so that is a and we'll just call it a success. So what does it look like when you cast a spell?
He has like a lot of like different things that are probably in a smaller bag or like on the side of his backpack. For the missile, it's probably like a polished like longer crystal that he pulls out, and he uses it like a wand, and does like a hand gesture over it like that. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Sorry, peanut butter crackers. That too. As you focus your energy across this crystal and it elongates, and you see the energy passing from your hand as it's pushing away from you, forming this kind of ballistae-looking element of energy, and you aim it straight towards kind of the locking mechanism of this door, not so much to blow out the doors, but just to loosen that mechanism, allowing the doors to be opened. And you see it as it grows and then pierces straight through it, shattering that mechanism as the doors kind of go limp, just in time for Pan to kind of like loosely fall through it, as she still was trying to probably push through it a little bit more. But the way is now open for you.
I do fall over the threshold, but I think she does go straight over.
Sure do. And normally you would take 1 harm, but you're tough. Ish. So Pan will start to see to getting everybody safely out, probably quietly and surreptitiously. Let's pan over to Hindiriel. You're gathering up this component, this blood. What does your Jinx ritual look like?
It mostly looks like me gathering the blood into a vial and then looking at it closely and then whispering to it in a language that nobody else would recognize, and then smashing the vial on the ground.
Okay. So as you start to speak this language that nobody else can hear or understand, it's almost as if like a cacophony of whispers begins to build off of this language emitting from you. And energy forms. You smash the vial into the ground as you try to center yourself on where this blood had came from. Go ahead and roll your weird.
That's a 4.
Oh no! Ooh, that means I get to do things to you. This is exciting.
Can I use a luck point? How does that work?
You can. So luck does exist. You can automatically choose to succeed, as if you roll a 12 and you click into your okay to doomed. You do not get luck back. The more you spend it, the more something terrible might happen to you if all those boxes are filled in. So would you like to use a luck point?
I would.
Okay, so you feel as if the energy starts to become out of control, and you drive your hand further into the crushed vial, kind of using that pain to bring you back, as the spell, which is about to fizzle out and go haywire, centers again, and you focus in on your target to jinx it. And in the back of your mind, you hear a dry chuckle. And you get to choose to do 2. You can either you can interfere with the hunter, giving them a -1 forward. Help a hunter, giving them a +1 forward by interfering with their enemy. Interfere with what a monster, minion, or bystander is trying to do. Inflict a 1 harm on the target due to an accident. The target finds something you left for them, or the target loses something that you will soon find.
I would like the target to lose something,
Okay.
and I would like to interfere with what the monster is trying to do.
Perfect. So let's say those things start to happen simultaneously. As people are starting to file out and everybody is trying to keep their eyes on everybody, making sure they're checking for any bites or any type of slash marks or any type of weird movements in the crowd, more people start to congregate and it becomes difficult to see. Except for you, as you hone in on the blood that you used for this spell, and you start to see this kind of like flittering through the crowd, and you can't understand why people wouldn't see this because this being is massive, but it's just moving so stealthily and sneakily through the crowd at their knee level that you just don't see it, and you see it as it goes to try and reach out and bite another one of the people to add to its horde. As it cries out in this shrill, "Ow!" As pain splits through its head, and it thwarts being able to bite that person and starts to skitter away as one of its teeth is left behind for you. And it skitters away. But that was a success. Good job. But there's an entity growing in your mind now. Thanks for using luck. It's fun. Man, I really wanted to do things to you, but it's fine. All right, so what are we doing, Frankie and Pan?
I'd like to stand up, because I have just laid here as these people are going past. And once everyone that looks like they're out, the people who need to be out that are out, she's going straight to that boiler room. Okay.
And Frankie, I believe you wanted to do something once everybody was out.
Oh, you're muted.
Let me unmute myself. I wanted to put up the like a wall behind the door, so that people can't come back in right immediately.
Perfect. Yeah, so go ahead and that's going to be another weird roll.
All right. It's another 9.
Okay.
Yes.
So that doesn't say anything on mixed successes. It works for me. So you start to see the doors that were normally kind of a little loose now that you've broken the mechanisms kind of lock into place as the begins to shimmer around it from the wall being cast. And you know that whoever hits this wall won't be able to really bypass it, or at least won't be able to bypass it without getting any harm. So it's at least safe being cast on this side where the doors can't open and anybody trying to go out is going to get hurt. And everybody seemingly seems to be out safe, at least on this floor, as you guys head to the boiler room, I assume?
Pan is heading straight for that boiler room. She still has the broom, but she is heading in that direction.
Still has the broom.
Clinging the stick, like clinging onto it for dear life.
I would like to pick up the fang first.
Go for it. You pick it up. It's about this big. It's a pretty gnarly fang. Wow. And you start to see that there is like a definitely a type of slimy residue that surrounds it. Knowing of a spider's anatomy, you get the sense that it is some form of venom. It seems to be seeping from it. But you have a gnarly looking arachne fang with some leftover venom.
A Pan.
Yes, and she sort of turns around with her stick. She looked like she was running, so she does sort of come to a skidding halt.
Would it be worthwhile to develop an antidote to this stuff?
I mean, how much time do you think we have? Like, as she sort of pauses and she's like, do you have an antidote?
No? Don't you have facilities for that here?
I do. I personally don't know how to do that, but, and like, is there like any nurses around that I would know how to do that? Doctors or nurses or like research sort of things?
It depends. Did you want them all to go?
I think she would have kept one or two in purely to help her test people if there was any, or if like anyone else was still in here by accident.
Or to monitor the patients that really couldn't be.
Yeah, the patients that can't leave.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, so we'll say, Frankie, would you have made sure that your mom left or stayed?
Probably left.
Okay. I would say that there's a couple of one of the head nurses left, and maybe one other of the ER docs that are trying to hold down the fort. Probably you, in getting everybody else, congregated most of the patients into one of the bigger rooms so that, and set up like a nice little barricade for them. You could pass it off to them, and they can try to see what they can do with it. If that's something you would like to do.
I think she'd try to just find someone to be like, or at least just tell me what's in it.
Got it.
If there'd be a way to find a weakness, because she doesn't really know what this is.
Yeah. Okay. So they would, let's say, give me a name. Dr. Chat,
Philip.
Give me a name.
I've realized I've just called him Dr. Phil, but Dr. Phil.
No, we are not having Dr. Phil on this game.
Dr. Phil.
No.
I've never seen Dr. Phil, so I can't even.
Me being an ER nerd, let's call it Dr. Luca. Dr. Luca Kovac? Seriously? Oh,
I don't watch ER either.
Okay, that's fine. Carter. Oh gosh, John Carter. Sure, that's another ER doc. Okay, Dr. Carter. I'm here for it. No Wiley. You pass off to Dr. Carter, and he kind of takes a look at it and scrapes as y'all wait, and gets a sense that it's kind of like an infecting agent, the same way that like tetanus would infect a wound, or a Komodo dragon would start to eat away your skin. That it infects the cells and the cells around it, and it mutates them. He, of course, is a little taken aback, as though they know of what happens in this town, they don't always see it. And this is very disconcerting. And they, being connected to the town, at least connected to some of the research, would probably reach out to one of the other researchers in the town that are more paranormal based. They might reach out to Malkin, or they might reach out to Aminata down to try and get more information on it. And they would say they would text you when they have more answers.
Yeah, she's sort of like on that. She kind of throws the stuff in their direction so that they can do it, and then she keeps running towards the boiler room. So in her head, these things could spread everywhere. Yeah,
they'll text you updates as they learn them, and they'll try to see if they can reach out to one of the other more paranormal based researchers in the town to see if they can garner a little bit more information to help you guys out with the putting down what other entity it is that is to Arachne.
Okay.
All right. So you take down towards the other end of the hallway, towards the stairs, as the elevators are currently not working. You are on the first floor. You know that there is a basement where the morgue and the supply closets and such are down there, and then there's another level below that is the cellar. So you start heading down the staircases, and the deeper, the further down you go, the more it starts to get really warm, and it's a little strange because it's like October. It's a little cool out. and normally heat rises. So for it to be so incredibly hot as you descend into towards the cellar, and you start to see around the bars of the stairs, handrails. See, we're getting there. Around the handrails, you start to see ever growing thicker web and slime as you descend more, and the smell of earth now mixed with blood and a little bit of rot starts to fill your nose in this heat as it grows more and more intense. You get the sense that it's like hotter than a hot tub down here.
I roll up my sleeves.
I'm gonna stop by the closets and stuff for supplies and stuff like that. One, I think she's going to grab some medical supplies because she always has them, but also she is going to grab some bleach and stuff like that as well.
Okay, bleach. Anybody else want to try and raid some stuff?
If not, I'll be shoving stuff in like your hands. Like she's picking up bleach, bandages, and she's taking another mop, and she's also taking a tub of ammonia as well.
Yeah, and I'll say that you all passed the morgue, so you could have gotten whatever instruments you wanted if you really wanted to.
Can I get the supplies to make a heat-generating chemical reaction?
Ammonia and bleach.
No. No. Ammonia and bleach. No.
Nope. You don't want that.
That is how you kill everybody.
Yes.
No, but it's okay. We evacuated the hospital.
No, you'll kill yourselves.
Yeah, you don't.
Sacrifices must be made.
We're going down, and I'm taking you all with me. Yes, I would say that there are plenty of chemicals, especially in the morgue and the supply closets that are outside of just daily cleaning products that you could easily turn into some form of incendiary device. We'll say like.
I mean, I know Pan's taking the bleach mainly because she's like, she doesn't know how this thing affects stuff. So
right. Okay.
Take alcohol too to sanitize.
Like rubbing alcohol.
If there's like rubbing alcohol,
sanitize.
if there's sulfuric acid, I know it's really mild in hospitals and stuff, but it's the really mild stuff you normally.
Yeah. And you can find some good stuff in the morgue. The morgue's got some good chemicals. I don't know why they just do. But yeah, you can probably get some beakers with some stoppers and make some homemade Molotov cocktails if you wanted to.
Yeah, she's not planning on making like bombs or anything. She's literally looking at neutralizing areas.
Well, I know that Hentirial is wanting to make essentially a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah.
Not so much something that would flame, so much as something that would lure if they are attracted by heat.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember science. Science side of Twitch. Give me something.
Alcohol and flame. Like,
yeah,
if anyone's got a lighter, then you literally.
You can
just. I said I picked up raid. Can I light my raid?
But you're just looking for something that won't necessarily burn because you're afraid burning might scare it, but would emit enough heat. Yeah, we'll say something chemically. You can concoct that you can shake that starts to fission in some way to do that. Yeah, sure. We'll call that. I don't think it will do. Yeah, I won't say that it does any harm, but I will give you a +1 on one of your rolls if you use it to try it as a distraction. So we'll say a +1 distraction if you want to make a note of that. Frankie, was there anything you would like to try and read?
I don't think so. I don't think there's really anything I
don't forget
need.
There's like bone saws and like scalpels.
I have a knife already.
Is there not a mop thing, because that's normally wood? Is there like a metal pole? You know when they like open windows up high, just because Pan wants to keep this thing at a distance.
Right.
Because if this thing bites, then it's kind of...
I would say that they have like one of those the things that you hang IV bags on.
Oh, okay, yeah. She'll probably take one of those because she's literally trying to keep it back rather than...
And Frankie, did we interrupt you?
No. He's probably gonna try to keep like his hands free so he can do magic, because it's harder if I'm not holding my focus or I just don't have my other hand free.
Okay.
I probably would switch out for a yellower crystal that's basically the same to give it the earth property.
Okay.
Yeah. To try to, if we see it, to like restrain it, to stop it from getting at us.
Pan.
For sure. Okay, cool. Got it.
Would you like the shotgun? I don't know why I brought it with me to the hospital.
Would you have got into the hospital with that? Like...
I mean, I assume I left it at the front desk. Or wherever they store such things.
He's got a sawed-off shotgun just in like an ankle-length duster coat and doesn't look suspicious at all.
Just used to him at this point.
Yeah,
he just does that.
Yeah, he just done that. It's fine. They do that. That's what they do. They walk around with shotguns.
Yeah.
And files.
And files. Good. Oh god damn it. All right. So you collect your heat thing, your you've got an IV hanger that you're going to use to kind of like
it's just keeping it back.
Like matador some things away.
Yeah.
And you descend once more from the morgue into the cellar. And as you're descending, you start to hear that pattering even more, as it's like it's like a cacophony of like just pattering hands as they're moving around. Ugh. I want that on the shirt, a cacophony of pattering hands. As you can hear through the bulkhead door that's been essentially it's been like ripped open. It hasn't been like nicely opened or like somebody just went and used one of their million legs and just like opened it. It just has been grasped and ripped to the side as and you can see movement in the dark with a glow at the end. And Dariel, this looks exactly like your premonition.
This was a bad idea.
Pan is there like, okay everyone, keep it at distance, don't let it bite you. Good luck. And she's gonna go towards the door and she's poking around as well, not just to the creature, but to clear any webs.
Okay.
If there's any of these webs, she wants to know where they are.
Got it. Yeah, so you start to jimmy this thing around and you catch a web and kind of pull it down, and you have now a clear vision and you start to see maybe 7 or 8 of these arachnes. And now that you have like a good look at them, they're grotesque. They have they do indeed have 8 legs, like an average spider. But the legs aren't legs, they're arms. And at the end of the arms are hands as they just pitter around. And on top of these bodies that have morphed out, these arm for legs, is this head that has swollen and lost its hair. And where there once were ears or nose or mouth, now are eyes, as they all just go and stare right at y'all.
Yeah, I think Pan is there. If whoever's closest can just hear I hate it, 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 I hate it. Like just as she's not saying it loudly, but it's more just to herself, and then it slowly changes it to you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got as she starts. So can we see this furnace on?
Yes, you can see it on and burning, especially since it's been cooler days. It's probably been running a little bit more. But Ambar, or can you check in Zoom chat for me?
Is it like the door itself? Has it got like a hatch on the boiler to open?
Boiler? Yeah. So you look at it and it's like the quintessential like old school boiler, right? It's got like its different nozzles and it's got the pipes, the steam that it's creating steam to push heat throughout the building. This will probably be the last thing that's ever updated. And it's a big cast iron boiler. Looks like it's got like a window where you start to see the flames. It's not driven by coal anymore, that it's driven now by a steady stream of gas into it to keep the fire going. As they're moving around, it's staying warm, and now see you and start to skitter towards y'all. Monster of the Week does not have initiative, so whoever comes up with something to do, let me know, and we'll do our best to make sure we're not talking over anybody.
Are any of them on the actual mechanism?
On the actual mechanism to the boiler?
Yeah.
Like the boiler itself, are they like on top of it?
Yeah.
There is one that's kind of like crouched up there that is staring at you, while the others are kind of like...
I would like to hex it.
Okay. Hex. All right. Go ahead and use magic. What did we roll?
Can I use another luck point?
You sure can. You sure can. So you'd like to automatically succeed?
Yes.
All right. So you may pick from the following. The target contracts a disease. The target immediately suffers harm. Or the target breaks something precious or important.
I would like it to break something precious or important.
Okay.
Hopefully the boiler.
Got it. Okay, so you cast this hex, and once again, that kind of chuckling in the back that normally is subdued comes a little more forward into your mind as you feel it becoming ever so present as something comes closer to your being. As you focus this energy, what does this hex look like on this creature?
Immense pain. I think it actually involves me like stabbing myself where
Okay.
I want it to be injured, sort of thing.
Okay.
Not enough to actually like hurt normally,
Mhm.
but if something does go wrong, that's usually what does end up going wrong.
Got it. So as you kind of take a sharp part or implement that you have, you jam your hand or arm on it as you see the shell of the boiler crack ever so much as a mass amount of heat sprays up, and the entity that normally would be very comforted by heat recoils its arm and looks at you very, very angrily. What is everybody else doing?
I'm going to use another missile, this time with the earth property.
Okay. And you're trying to like bind it to something?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it where it is.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay, go ahead and roll weird.
Yeah, that's an 8.
8. Okay, that's a success. So you focus, and which one are you trying to target? The one on the boiler or the one closest to y'all?
The one closest to
Okay.
us.
As it tries to reach out with one of its Appendages is a good one. You see it as it kind of just loses its ability to hold its legs up, as its body just gets sucked onto the ground, as if a heavy magnet was turned on and pulling it to the ground, binding it there, and restraining it for the foreseeable future.
And it says the missile does 1 harm.
Okay, so you wanted to do it simultaneously?
Yeah, I think that's what it, because I think you can add the effect to the base, and the base was missile.
Oh, okay, yeah. I gotcha. So we're learning, folks.
Yeah.
Don't come at me. I don't care. And so you fire the missile, and instead of it piercing it, it bludgeons it and pulls it down. So I will allow this to take, because I can. I'm gonna say it takes 2 harm. And that's the one closest to you. Pan, what are you doing?
Pan is at the moment she's watching the others both cast these spells, and she's sort of swinging this thing to keep them back, again to keep a distance.
Okay.
Question: as the boiler is splitting, does the creature on top look like it's recoiling from the flames or trying to get closer to it?
It did give it a little bit of pain as the steam did hit it, but as the steam and the heat subsided, it does still enjoy the heat, and it doesn't seem to hurt it as much as you would hope it would.
Okay. If anything, then I think Pan is gonna transform.
Okay.
And she wants to keep these things at bay whilst these two are casting.
And I got it. And because I love it every time, please describe your shift, because we're werewolves and it's cool.
She is a dinky werewolf. She's not as big as her other werewolf companion. She's a lot leaner. She grows about maybe 6 inches in height. She started off at 5'4", so she was tiny, but it's a much leaner, more sort of lean muscle type werewolf with this almost sandy brown fur, except for this huge white streak that runs from the back of her neck all the way down her shoulder, across her chest, and down her back. And if anything, it's mainly her claws that get bigger than actually herself, as her muzzle sort of elongates and the teeth start to show.
All right. And would you like to attack one of these things?
I think she's going to be using her arm. She's going to be slashing, just to keep it at arm's distance more than anything.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Are you doing a precise attack?
Yeah, she's trying to not kill it straight away. She needs to know how they die rather than just slashing out. Yeah, she's trying to, if anything, take off the leg arm so that they can't move.
The leg arm? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Is this tough, or?
If you're using your precise attack, it would be your stroke.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's that you know where to hit it. 9?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a mixed success. So you lash out and you cut through one of its appendages, while the other one rakes you across the chest for 2 harm, which I believe lowers you to 1 harm, because I think you have 1 armor. Giving you 1 harm, and as you take off the appendage, you start to see as it starts to grow back.
Okay.
Frankie, at this point, your phone goes off, and it's a message from your mom saying that Dr. Carter tried to text Pan. Texting you instead says Aminata says decapitation.
Just say it, like, just check it really fast and just saying decapitation.
She turns around like, what? She's in her full form as she's like looking at this limb grow back. She looks incredibly awkward the way she stands.
You can't grow back. You can take off an arm, you can't grow back a head.
and starts to move towards them.
All right, that's Pan's turn. Let's go back down to Hindiriel. What are you doing?
I would like to hex the one that is most threatening to Pan.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your weird.
Seven.
7. Okay, that is a mixed success. You reach out as you form the energy around another one of the beings that lashed out at Pan. And what kind of effect would you like to have on the Arachne?
Just draw damage. The suffers 2 harm or magic or ignore armor.
Magic, ignore armor. Perfect. Okay, so you see it as its head kind of splits a little bit as it takes that 2 harm and screeches, and it turns its eyes on you. Frankie, what are you doing?
Let me see. And I had. I'm gonna. How many of them are there in here?
There are 6.
6? Okay. Would I be able to put a wall around some of them so that they?
So that you trap them?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it doesn't say like really much of anything, so I've kind of been taking the wall as very loose.
Yeah, it says
1 harm magic barrier, close, 1 armor, obvious. So the way I was interpreting wall when I first read it was kind of like shield.
Yeah.
Except for a shield that does damage. Where like in a moment you could toss it up and it would damage the person on the other side of it and give you a +1 armor, and that it would be kind of like wall. It would be like it would be shield meets thunderwave.
Yeah.
But if you are able to creatively come up with a cool thing for wall, I'm not going to tell you can't.
Yeah, thinking like having it like as like a circle, I guess, around the ones that aren't coming at us, because I assume those would be like closer, like grouped together.
Yeah, I would say that I would give you kind of like a 5'5" cube.
Yeah.
So we'll say that you could probably get 1 trapped and half of the other dealing it harm.
Okay. And I'm still doing the earth effect on it, so I guess it would like try to like there's the wall there, but it like also like kind of
bind it,
puts it down. Yeah.
You got it. Go ahead and roll your weird.
Ooh, that's a 10.
Cool. I was kind of hoping to roll a 10. I was like, on a 10, I'm going to make this real cool. So as you focus your energy again, no longer casting a missile, instead you're casting a barrier, you start to see almost like hologram panels as they go boom, 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 as they circle around and pull this creature down. And as the last panel strikes up, it takes the head off of one of the other arachnes as its body falls limp, and the other one's trapped to the ground, and you're down to 5 arachnes.
Yeah.
Because that sounded really cool. Like, yeah, force field, let's do it. Pan, it is now your turn.
As soon as Pan has been yelled at by Frankie in the best way, going to decapitate them, she's sort of like turned and she's looking at her claws and she's trying to walk through these creatures and literally just try and take the heads off as she goes. She's just swinging her arms out.
Okay. So this will still be, in my opinion, a precise roll because you're wanting to get that nice.
She's aiming. It's not
aiming
like
it. Yeah.
left.
So go ahead and roll me your precise, which is your sharp.
11.
11. So I'll say you're able to kind of step through and simultaneously just take your claws and just go like this and just rake right like this through them as if they were just razors themselves. cutting through the sinew and the flesh as the heads lob off. You are down to 3 arachnes as they start to swarm at you all, running straight to you, Pan. The one that you hexed, Hindiriel, one is going to come after you, and one's going to come after you, Frankie, and they're all going to deal each of you 2 harm as they lash out with their clawed appendages.
Am I down now, or
are you down now?
I had 1 left, but I have 1 armor, so if it's doing 2, then am I down?
You're down to 1 harm. I don't think the armor goes away. Your armor is you.
No, but I mean, does it cancel out one of the points of harm? If you see what I mean.
You get 1 harm. Everybody else gets 2 unless there's armor built into your thing.
Then I am down.
Oh, okay.
I am down.
You're down?
I'm down, because the last one gave me 2 damage, I believe.
How are you down?
3.
You have 8 harm.
Do I? Hang
on.
Hang on. I've calculated wrong. Never mind. Yes, completely ignore me.
I'm like, how are you down?
No, I'm on 5 though, because I've taken. Hang on.
When did you get 5?
6. I'm on 6. So the last one did 3, but I lost one from armor. Ignore me. I'm alive. I'm still here.
Did you take the resilience as well?
No, I don't think I took resilience.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk later. All right, so Pan's looking hurt. Everybody else has 2 harm because you're in a battle and you're gonna get bloodied. Hindiriel, it is now your turn, I believe, as one of the arachne, the one that was on the boiler, just unnaturally fast scampered up to you and scraped you for your 2 harm.
I would like to use Jinx.
Jinx, okay. And how would you like to? So go ahead and roll weird to see what we can do with Jinx.
9.
9, okay. So you get to choose one of the effects. You can help a hunter, giving them a +1 forward by interfering with the enemy. You can interfere with that monster, minion, or bystander is trying to do. You inflict 1 harm on the target due to an accident. The target finds something you left for them. The target loses something that you will soon find.
I would like to interfere. I'd like to interfere with Pan's enemy.
Okay. And how would you like it? How would you like it to be interfered with?
I would like to make it easier to hit. So I guess that would be giving Pan a +1 forward, I guess.
Okay, so you would like to give Pan a +1 forward?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Pan, you have a +1 for your next roll. Frankie, what are you doing? This thing is now in your face.
All right. I'm going to it's because the wall is the only thing that's close. I'm gonna try to to bring it up like I did the other one.
Okay.
Between me and the one coming at me.
Got it. So you kind of want to try and do the same thing that happened to the other one?
Yeah.
You got it. Go ahead and roll your weird.
All right. Ooh. That's a 6.
That is a fail. Mark experience. Would you like to use a luck?
I have an ability I want to use, so
okay.
Even not using luck.
I
have the could have been worse.
Okay.
I kind of want it. The effect, this is gonna suck, where the effect happens, but you trigger all the listed glitches but 1. So I cast the spell, but it's bad.
Okay.
Because it still adds 1 armor.
So, following options, listen. So, physical preparations and materials for the spell are ruined. You'll have to start over from scratch, or this is going to suck. The effect happens, but you trigger all of the listed glitches but 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Listed glitches. Bear with us, guys. now. I don't know what the glitches are. Yeah, we'll make them up. So you cast your wall, and it does 100% do the effect that you wanted it to, decapitating the being that was lunging at you as its body falls limp. But the wall, being so close to you, explodes outward, giving you 1 harm.
Oh.
That's how I'll say that. It worked out, but you got hurt. Pan, it is now your turn.
Pan is looking a little, not rough, but like bloodied, probably. Like it's more like it's matted into the fur.
Mm-hmm.
But she is sort of diving towards that one in front of her to just try and decapitate it as well.
Okay.
And I have a +1, did we say, to this roll as well?
You sure do.
6, 9, 12.
12. Awesome. You, in a ever awesome fashion, almost as if you were one of the bigger wolves. Actually, why don't you describe it? How do you do that?
I think she sort of sees it. She gets up, as I said, sort of bloodied and messy, and I think she runs towards it but ends up galloping over on all fours to take it out. And it's half mid jump that one set of claws digs into its shoulder so that she can grip it, and the other half just takes the head off.
Nice. As you eviscerate this being, taking its head clean off in one foul swoop, we're left to one final arachne that stands all 8 legs in front of Hendiriel. What are you doing?
I'll hex it.
Hex it. And don't forget, you do have a shotgun if you do want to use it. I allowed you to bring a shotgun into the hospital if you wanted to use it. Because I don't know.
That's a 5?
A 5? Okay. That is a failure. Go ahead and mark experience. Were you trying to hex or shoot?
Hex.
Okay. The hex, on a fail, instead of finding its target, I will say it backfires and does you 1 harm.
Okay.
As the thing spins around, seeing that it is surrounded and down, its members will try its best to try and get away. Frankie and Pan, I will allow you to work simultaneously to see what you would like to do to halt this.
I can try to restrain it with use the missile to restrain. Well, I might. It's gonna damage it, but to just kind of, if it starts to like climbing a wall, like use the missile to like stick it to the wall.
Okay.
Basically. Yeah.
All right. You know what to do. You know what to
So Pan can do whatever with it. It's a 9.
A 9. Okay.
Yeah.
And Pan, what would you like to do?
If Pan can see Frankie, like as he pins it, Pan's going to use that moment to go and decapitate that one as well.
Perfect. So go ahead and roll your strike as well. And we'll say add +1 to that since Frankie was helping out.
11 then.
Perfect. So Frankie, as you reach out with your energy, and the missile almost starts to cut through its head as its body becomes becoming bound to the earth again as it's sliding down this wall in slow motion, Pan comes over and with both of her claws just takes the head off as soon as the missile goes straight through its head. So you get a little blood on you, Pan, but it looks really cool as the last arachne's body slumps to the ground, and you no longer have, as far as you're concerned, any more enemies around you. Congratulations, you didn't die.
I think Pan slowly starts to shrink back down to herself, like she's like breathing heavily, trying to, catch her breath. But she sort of goes to that bag of stuff with all the bandages, pulls it out, and just starts patching herself up, which I think she's done a lot of times before. She just checks around with everyone, starts patching herself up so she can help other people patch themselves up.
Shouldn't we check to see if they got any venom in you before you patch yourself up?
Oh yeah, I'll be running tests later. I know a guy. And she sort of like starts to text Malkin. And it's like off at the side, like, I'm gonna need some help later.
Frankie, were you saying something?
No, he kind of goes over to Stalin on the stairs, like holding his sides, like, that did not feel good.
No, you all definitely look a little worse for wear.
Yeah.
Thankfully, not too much that a good couple of nights sleep can't repair. I don't think any of you went into the 4 harm range. So thankfully your body will start to heal on its own, which is the wonderful thing about the system. Don't forget, Pan, I believe you did take one of the divine moves, which is lay on hands, which you can use on yourself or people around you, but unfortunately you do roll for
kind
it.
of what she's doing. Like, she's patching herself up first, and then she's going to be using, ironically, the ivy with wheels to help herself go across, and to the others to try patch them up as well.
As you should. Collecting some samples, I believe, for Malkin to study. And I will say that Hendaria, you can mark experience because you did stop this bad thing from expanding outside of its area. It could have gotten a lot worse. And Frankie, you I will also give you experience for utilizing your powers in such a creative and unique way. As we'll close on the scene. All of y'all a little bloodied, a little worse for wear, but for now, peace settles in the Silver Hollow. You're able to get the electricity back on. You're able to get the generators back on for the hospital, thereby ending the lockdown. And checking on everybody. Unfortunately, you weren't able to move as quickly. As you look around, you start to see that there are 6 Arachne bodies, and you know that you started with 1. So some of the town's members, and it will be interesting to try and identify them. But that will be a story for another time. Congratulations.
My neighbors.
What?
I bet it was my neighbors.
Your neighbors.
Summoners.
We're gonna have the cows in the field now.
Who knows? Who
Cows
knows?
were a distraction.
Yeah.
But good job, y'all. You did it. You didn't die.
Didn't die.
Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Henandriel, who I'm gonna start calling you Hen. Hen and Frankie, y'all's characters were a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and start closing out. I believe it's tell us where we can find you and what you got coming up. Alice, take it away.
Yeah, love to hear where we can find you, what your Twitter handle is, and all those shenanigans. And what was your favorite part? First of all, I just want to say a shout out to Just a Little Nerd, or Lil Sparks, as she is now on Twitter. Please go check her out. She'll be back next week. She is a wonderful human being, so please go check her out. Otherwise, let's pop down to Amber. Hello.
Hello. I'm Amber Gawain in Twitch chat and Pumpkin on Twitter. I really enjoyed the scene in the office, in the treatment room, basically. That awkward silence. Love it. Love it so much.
Love an awkward silence. Wonderful. Thank you. And then we're going to hop over and say hello to Jay.
Hi, I'm Jay. You can find me on Twitter at Jay with 2 Y's TXT. I post art over there and might be doing something similar soon. I don't I don't know for sure. Uh, um, yeah, that's mostly it. I will be posting about the things that I'm doing on Twitter.
Awesome. Did you have a favorite part at all?
Just stay calm. The screaming. I'm gonna go. Again, stay calm. Like that. Very good.
It's probably nothing. Yeah.
Totally nothing.
Oh, and then I'm gonna, before I round off myself, let's say to our lovely Alpha. Oh my.
Oh, hi. Oh, woo, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am Kaya Gaston. I go by the Alpha here on In the Light of the Moon. Why? Because I love werewolves, and being called an alpha just sounds real cool to me. Thank you all for voting on what shirt I was going to wear tonight. I didn't realize, I never talked about it at the beginning, for my werewolves not swearwolf shirt. Thanks for voting. We'll see which shirt makes it next week. And also, you can follow me on Twitter at Crit Charisma. If you know cool werewolf shirts, send me the links. I will probably buy them for reasons. You can find me here. I live here. I will never leave. I only live here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Please drink responsibly. Be responsible. Be amazing. Don't drink or drive. Be good people. I love you all. Favorite part.
Favorite part, yes.
Favorite part. The look of horror as I describe these 8-armed arachne people with eyes coming out of there. I'm so sorry. I love horror, and I tend to get a little grotesque. That's why we have content warnings on here. I love being grotesque, but you're all like, it's like, yeah.
I'm a
They're
horror
coming for you.
baby.
Patter, patter, patter. Yeah. Or the patter of the patter of many legs of the many-legged creatures. I'm gonna have to go back and find that. I need it on our shirt.
I love it. The cacophony of something.
The cacophony of many padded legs, arms, many padded hands.
That's it. Many padded hands.
Patter of many hands, I think it was.
Yeah, the cacophony of many pattering hands. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambar. That's how it is.
I love it. I love it. And last but certainly, can I say not least, if it's myself, it's just a habit now. But anyway, hi, I'm White Rabbit Pick. You can find me under that on Twitter. I'm a photographer as well as the headmistress of the Scratticus Academy as a DM and as a player, and coming to some more channels in the upcoming months, which I'm very, very excited about. Otherwise, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors. First of all, please check out Hero Forge. Look at these awesome minis. And I think it's today they're releasing a new race on Hero Forge as well. But these things are awesome. All printed in color, and they're little fox. I'm slightly biased. But also the wonderful Mage Hand Press that created one of my favorite systems ever, Dark Matter, which is D&D in space. And also the very wonderful Deck of Many Things, with the Deck of Many moving magic spell cards, which you can see just there. They are also the wonderful creators of Humblewood, which is an incredibly wholesome campaign, which you can check out on the channel over on Thursdays. And if you would like to get into a game, drop Scrat a DM on Twitter. We also have Discord. We have one for every single game play, and we would love to hear what you think about this one. And if you've missed out on anything, you can head over to YouTube and catch up over there. Otherwise, we'll be back with our next show in a short while. Keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Okay, everyone, we've got a pretty long wait there between the streams, so we might go live in a little bit with a little